That was a very emotional moment for me. I'm actually there right now in my head talking to you. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I was a fat guy trying to be a Navy SEAL now, and my life had come to this crossroads where I'm like, man, you have to go right. And no one was going right. Everybody was going left. I'm like, you have to go right. And to know the pain and suffering I was about to endure by going right, the amount of accountability and failure I was going to witness and suffer by myself alone on this journey, it was daunting. So when I finally got to the ASVAB test, and I was taking it for my very last time to get into the SEAL teams or to even try out, they weren't supposed to tell me my score. And I went back out to my car after I took it. I was on some computer test, and I didn't know how to use computer. I was wigging out about that because the first time I took it was like some notebook. You know, you open a Scantron sheet and you bubble it in with a number 2 pencil and you turn it in. I saw a computer and I was like, oh my God, it's on a computer? So I wigged out there and I had to get a 50 on mechanical comprehension. This is my second time. So I took it 3 times for the Air Force and twice for the Navy. So this is my second time for the Navy. And they're like, hey, this is it, man. You know, you're done. You're too old. You have a limited amount of time to lose 106 pounds, and you have to take his ASVAB again. There's so many things that's crunching down my head. And so when I took the test, I knew I had a good enough score to get in the Navy, but to be a SEAL, I had to score high on mechanical comprehension, a 50. So the first time I got a 44 on mechanical comprehension. So I'm sitting there and I take the test and I hit send. It's out in outer space somewhere, but I knew it popped up at the administrator's desk. He tells you sit down, take your test, and you leave. I walked out, got in my car, or I was walking around the car, whatever, and I was like, I gotta go in and find out, man. So I went in, I literally sat there. Everybody's taking their test, and I'm begging this guy. And he's telling me, I can't tell you. It's against rules, everything. Right. He opened it up, he goes, okay, man. He said, you got a 65. I said, no, man, I didn't know I got a mechanical comprehension. And he scrolled the page down, and it was exactly a 50. And I literally, like, what came through my body, because it's easy to talk about now to you, but no one knew the time and energy I put into getting that 50. It was pretty amazing. It represented an opportunity for a new life, but the thing about it is, I'm trying to be a Navy SEAL. At this time, I was still 200 and some odd pounds. I still had more weight to lose. So think about this. I put everything on David Goggins to be a Navy SEAL. It's like going to the crap table with your last $1,000. And you say, you know what? I'm gonna put everything on black. And hopefully I'll win. If not, I'm broke. I put my whole life, a guy that was scared of the water, a guy that could taught himself how to read and write, a guy that came from nothing. I put my whole life, and I'm gonna go out here and put everything on David Goggins to be a Navy SEAL. And I look at that, and I did all this just to get the opportunity to succeed. That's what people don't understand, man. If people see the end result, I remember that guy saying, my God, man, I can't believe what I've just done. I put everything, ruin relationships, ruin this, ruin that, put everything on. In fact, I have to become someone in this world, or I'm no good for anybody. It comes from a disgusting place of not being fulfilled in your life, of afraid of dying, having never accomplished anything. That's a fear that some people run away from, that people don't want to face. When you have a real fear of dying and being just another person, that I live to pay the bills, I made $1,000 a month. This is my life. I spray for cockroaches, man. If that makes you feel good, that's great. It didn't make me feel good. I wanted to, the first time in my life, after 26 years, it was 24, 25, wherever it was, I wanted to feel good about myself. You know, the one gift I have is I have the ability to see the end before the beginning even begins. And what that means is I know that to get to the very end, I can see it right now. So before I went to Buds, I saw myself walking across the stage at 191 pounds, 'cause that's what I had to get into the door. I saw myself 6 months, a year later, whatever it's gonna take me to do it, I saw myself walking across that stage, getting that certificate of graduation from Buds. And I was able to be there at 300 pounds. And that feeling, that I was nowhere near that feeling, I was able to put myself there 1,000,000 times every day. And that feeling of like, my God, that is gonna feel amazing. That's what made me suffer. That's what allowed the pain to be real and say, this is worth it. I want to feel for this next 18 months. It took me 18 months to finally become a Navy SEAL, to finally, just get through butts. 18 months, it's 6 months. It took me 18. That's what woke me up every morning was, I'm gonna put myself through this much pain and suffering for a few seconds. That's all it is. A few seconds of joy. And it's so worth it, man. That's what people don't get. So I'm able to put myself at the finish line, even though I have no finish line, but at the finish line of an event before I even start and say, how are you gonna feel at the end of this?
Back in the day when I played sports, there was one drill that I hated doing. And basically, we had to sit there and run in place. We ran in place until he blew that whistle. When he blew that whistle, we hit the dirt and bounced up again and started running in place again. And this drill went on and on and on. The one thing that sucked about that drill was the coach was in total control of everything. How long the drill went, when he blew the whistle for us to hit the dirt, when we got back up, started running in place, and it was mind-numbing. That drill reminded me a lot about life. I think a lot of us out here, we don't have control, we don't have the whistle. There's someone out there blowing that whistle, and we hit the dirt. Some of us choose to stay down, but it's that who constantly gets up as fast as they can, those make it in life. So it's our job to always be ready for the whistle. So the other day, me and my girl watched this animal show, and this fawn was being born out in the wild. When the fawn came out, my girl was like, oh, look at that, it looks like Bambi. I was like, this thing's gonna be hunted. It looked all exposed and fragile. It made me think about myself growing up. The only thing different about that fawn and me is that fawn couldn't hide, and I thought I could. I struggled in class, so I picked a far back desk to sit in, hoping I never get caught on. I got exposed. When I was in the military, I was afraid of the water. I got exposed in that. A lot of us are trying to find that back seat in the classroom of life, hoping we never get called on. Trust me, you will get called on. Your fears will always find you. They'll know where you're hiding. Stay hard. I got a question. How do you transform yourself from ordinary? The first thing you gotta do is the exact opposite of everybody else. I own a bulldog. I've owned lots of dogs in my lifetime, but I've never seen a dog eat like this. You put the food down, she buries her face in the bowl and attacks it, never looks up. So I was worried about it. So I called the breeder. She says yes. As puppies, there's limited food, so they attack it. They're afraid they won't eat. So I figured she'd outgrow it. 6 years later, she's got her own bowl, refrigerator full of food. But her mentality's the exact same. She acts like there's 20 puppies out there trying to steal her food. When you get that kind of mentality, you'll be successful. Stay hard.